Howdy, ladies and gentlemen. This is Paul, the Redneck Thinker. Thomas Jefferson said, "If you want something you've never had, you must be willing to do something you've never done." Benjamin Franklin said, "Without continual growth and progress, such words as improvement, achievement, and success have no meaning." Basically, get off your duff, get to working, you've got dreams, you've got goals, you've got to do what it takes to get them. Like, subscribe, comment, show what your opinion is. Let me know if you like what you've seen. And I thank you for your support.
If you want to contact me, it's in my link tree down below. If you want to help me out, be a Patreon. It's also in there. So, most rednecks don't like the government. Just how it is. We're not trying to overthrow it or anything like that. We just don't like folks interfering in our business. No joke, we don't. But when you need the government to actually, help you, yeah, we're not expecting that either. And, well, we're seeing that in Western Carolina and northeastern Tennessee. But here's the thing. We should not be seeing that. We've got breakdowns on the local level, state level, and federal level. It's almost like these folks are slow playing it because A, they just don't know what they're doing, or B, they don't want so many other things, such as possibly not allowing those folks to vote. So we're going to talk about that and get into why all of this is affecting these folks. So we're just going to do a quick segment on local. I think for the most part, the local government in these areas are doing their best. Not saying that is, and you can't plan for what happens, so that's part of the problem. The only complaint that I have heard, and everybody's heard the complaint if you're following what's going on there, that Lake Lure guy, the assistant fire chief who, I don't know if it was a power trip or he was freaking out because of the extent of the damage. I would hope that he was just overwhelmed and freaking out. Hopefully that's what was going on. But after everything is done, his and the female that spoke in his defense need to have their jobs re-examined. So we're not going to delve too much into it. I'm thinking it was a combination of things that maybe he just needs retraining. Let's just hope it's that. On the state level, I'm going to go back to who I've been saying, TEMA. That is the only group. They acted just like FEMA in Mountain City. I think part of it is the simple fact of they don't know what they're doing. You don't have this level of disaster in Tennessee on any basis. I mean, this level is ungodly. I think that they just needed to get their bearings. I'm hoping to God they just needed to get their bearings. I mean, Pigeon Forge in Gatlinburg has had some problems. There have been disasters in Tennessee. Don't get me wrong. We have tornadoes go through there. It's got problems just like any other state. I think TEMA, hopefully, just forgot that they were supposed to serve the people of Tennessee and not their egos. This is Tennessee. We don't tolerate that kind of silliness very long. So hopefully that one's been taken care of. Or will be taken care of. If you're in Tennessee, Think about that. FEMA confiscating material, just like FEMA's doing. Y'all might want to talk to y'all's elected officials about getting that stopped. Now, FEMA, here's the problem. As was proven a while ago, we're talking a decade ago, BLM, who should not be in a position to have power trips, had a power trip about a decade ago. FEMA, who should not be having power trips, has started developing power trips. I've heard stories from down in the Keys, the last major disaster. Folks had to get into boats to bring in supplies because FEMA was literally blocking all supplies, which was keeping those people in the Keys from getting help. And we're hearing stories of their supposed assistance money that is, an emergency setup in Texas not reaching people. Florida takes care of Florida. I will give them that. Florida's used to it. Those folks get drunk and go skinny dipping in the middle of hurricanes. I live in Virginia Beach. There are stories of that occurring here. When you live on the coast, you're used to it. I'm not saying that it's any less deadly. I'm not saying that it's any less dangerous. I'm just saying that people on the coast are used to it. Middle of the mountains, you're not used to it. And we've got a situation where it's magnifying the power tripping of FEMA. We as a nation need to elect people that are going to start putting a check on deep state, swamp, whatever name you want to call it. Yes, there is a deep state. There is a swamp. We have government officials who think that they are over everybody. This is a representative government. This is not a dictatorship, or should not be one. It is, but, well, not so much a dictatorship as we've got a government that doesn't listen to the elected officials. We've got a government that doesn't follow the Constitution. For that matter, we've got an education system that teaches people that this is a democracy. You listen everywhere, oh, this is a democracy. This was never supposed to be a democracy. It was a democratic republic. Learn the difference. And right now, we've got folks that are supposed to be helpful that aren't. Are there things that we can do? Sure. But are we going to do them? Probably not. And that's something that we really need to discuss. Now, we continuously hear folks talk about, oh, there's problems in the government, but we can't do anything about it. Wrong. We continuously hear, well, voting for people is not going to help anything. Partially wrong. We do not attempt to change anything in this country. I don't know if we're just too comfortable. I don't know if it's people's aversion to actual freedom. I don't know. I continuously listen to folks who claim to be conservative, who knows what the problems are, mostly, but they won't do anything. They vote for the same sad sacks every election. We had the Tea Party. We've now got MAGA. 3%ers were out there. People claim to want change. but you don't do it. Well, let me tell you something. You need to start making some changes. And it comes at every level. I mean, don't get me wrong, the left in this nation are, yeah, well, no common sense. But they're starting to wake up. Seriously, we're starting to have people that had swung so far to the left. Modern liberalism is sad. And modern liberalism is different than classic liberalism. If you need to learn the differences. Once you understand people's nuances, you go a lot further in being able to understand what's going on. But do I foresee BEMA, BLM, well, any part of the federal government getting fixed anytime soon? No. Why? We, the people, have started paying more attention to Kim Kardashian than we have to where our tax dollars are getting spent. Oh, sure, people complain about where our tax dollars are getting spent, but when you take a look at who's getting voted into office, yeah, well, that isn't happening. And then when you pay attention to what's going on, oh, wait, people don't. How many people actually understand what's going on via the inspector generals? How many people actually understand what's going on with federal government constantly violating the law and them getting away with it? And yes, we can do something about that. Until you and I get others to wake up, nothing's going to change. I am assuming that if you're listening to my little sad podcast, and I am very happy to have 86 subscribers, don't get me wrong, we are going to continue to have the situation where folks won't do anything. I listen to some of these groups. I mean, some of the biggest names in the so-called conservative movement, and I call it so-called because most of the time when you listen to them, they're not conservative. They're talking Bumble. Is that the name of it? Bumble, the dating app, not Rumble, the free speech video site that I am on, if you didn't know that. They're talking about MGTOW, men going their own way. I could care less about all that. I want to hear what's going on. I am trying to find news. I am trying to find things to change. Or I'm trying to find more information about topics that other people aren't paying attention to enough or are just paying attention to the periphery. So we're not having any change. Look, right now there are changes that are happening in this country. It's being fought hard. It's being fought very hard. This election, I think, whether Republicans win more or not, I think it's still going to be a changing point. There are starting to be people who are diehard leftists that are starting to wake up. And look, classic liberals, look it up. Look up the difference between classic liberalism and modern liberalism. Classic liberals are supposed to be the heart. Unfortunately, they've been hijacked for modern liberalism that is all about stuff that's not real or over exaggerated. You're starting to see divisions within the entire liberal movement. because common sense is starting to seep in. But at the same time, we've still got government agencies that are causing more problems than they're helping. We've still got billions upon billions upon billions of dollars going overseas when that money can be used here, or we could just not have it in the government hands. I think it's a combination of both that needs to happen. We need to stop sending so much money overseas. I had the argument that somebody that it was Mattis, that's what I was trying to remember, had said that it was better to do on a diplomatic front than it was to have to fight and all that, and money was part of the diplomatic front. It's really not. We're sending money to countries that hate us. Doesn't stop them from trying to kill us. It doesn't help stop the corruption in so many of these governments. I think it's time that we quit standing on the sidelines. And no, I am not saying that we need to continuously have people talking for us that don't understand basic common sense things. We need to educate ourselves. That's why I do my channel the way that I do. All of this is fixable when it comes to FEMA. But let me tell you, the rednecks up in the mountains just paid a price because we don't have a federal government that's actually worth anything. And some people are saying, well, that's misinformation. They've got videos of the art district in Asheville that I'm listening to these folks and they haven't seen FEMA. I'm listening to other videos where they haven't seen FEMA. I've seen, and we're not talking about within a few days. No, we're talking now. It's already been, 2 weeks since it hit there, and we're talking these people still haven't seen FEMA. They're getting turned down for money. Starlink is doing far more work, far more good than FEMA. Samaritan's Purse is doing far more good than FEMA. And American Red Cross, they haven't done anything from what I've heard. I haven't heard anybody that is up in those mountains that have even been contacted or know anything about American Red Cross. Yet FEMA is wanting to send all the supplies that they steal, and that's what it is, to the American Red Cross or keep it for themselves. So that needs to end. We need to stop government theft. We need to stop the padding of private organizations because government employees are helping them pad themselves. Our government has corruption in it. Our government has incompetence in it. Those folks up in them mountains right now have seen the level of incompetence, and it's not getting covered by mainstream media. So we need to get off our duffs, or this is going to happen to all of us even faster. This has been Paul, the Redneck Thinker. Y'all have a good day, and y'all think about everything I just said.